Hello to everyone who may or may not be here. Welcome back to the stream, where we play non-violent games, games that reward the player for intellectual and or emotional engagement, rather than for combat or any other kind of violent gameplay loops. We're back with the Great Ace Attorney 2 today. So without further ado, let's go. So... Oh, yeah! Oh my god, I completely forgot that Susato came back. I should probably have made that the headline. I mean the name of the thing, of the stream. Anyways, whatever. You know what? I can edit it, you know. Let me just do that, because it's definitely the bigger... There we go. Oh well. Anyways, now, sorry about that. Just got a little distracted because I was like, oh my god, I completely forgot the big headline of last week. 23rd of October, 2:41 p.m., Naruto's Legal Consultancy. Oh, this room. It's been too long. It hasn't changed in the slightest, though. And it's been some 6 months, hasn't it? It's a long time for things to stay so familiar. I didn't know when you might return, and I wanted everything to be as you'd left it. But it has been some 6 months, it's true. So is your father all right, Susie? What happened? My father? Yes, Professor Mikitoba. I mean, it was half a year ago, but that's why you went back to Japan. Because of the telegram you received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some reason. That's right. So I was surprised to learn he'd be coming back so soon. Surprised, but happy. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you. That was all a trick. My father is in fine health, and I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It was quite by accident that I've been able to return to Europe, actually. It's because of a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. The International Forensic... That's the same symposium Lord Strongheart mentioned. Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh! You must tell us everything that happened when you were back in Japan. Yes, of course I should. And there's one other thing. Something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About you-know-who. About Kazuma. I know. I'll tell you all that I can. Where do we start? When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. But curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely. The awful trial? Oh yes! For the murder of Giselle Brett. Oh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie? Oh, well, yes. Since women are forbidden in the courtroom, I had no choice. Wow, amazing! I wish I'd seen it, don't you, Runa? Yes, I suppose so. I want to play at being a lawyer now. I could wear a false moustache, maybe. I don't think any moustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. There's something else I've been wanting to ask you, Miss Susato. It's about... There's something else I've been wanting to ask you, Miss Susato. It's about the real reason why Professor Migatowa summoned you back to Japan. You said in your letter it was something to do with that convict's loot we found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings. That's right. A very large dog collar we found with the B emblem on it. It seems Mr. Natsume included a drawing of the collar in the report submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet. Why would that be, then? Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. But if he refuses to tell me what it was, then I intend to find the answers for myself. And I've decided that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie! That's a very meaningful look Susato-san's giving Iris there. Forensic Science Symposium. Lord Strongheart mentioned something about that symposium, too. I think he said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries would attend. Yes, and from Japan, my father and Judge Jigoto have been invited. It's something of an honor, I believe. Well, Professor Migatowa is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country, after all. Who's the other person you mentioned? Judge, did you say? Yes, His Excellency, Judge Seishiro Jigoku. We've met him, Mr. Mario. Last year in the Supreme Court. You can't possibly have forgotten. That terrible trial of yours, when you were accused of murder. Ah, yes, I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days. Well, it was Judge Jigoku who presided over that trial. Jigoku, is that it? I don't know. But that's where I'm going, I guess. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy to never see that man's face again in my life. Oh, well, anyway, as Father was invited to the symposium, he agreed to me returning to Britain too. He won't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I pleaded with him, and in the end, he agreed to me going on ahead. Yes, about the symposium, it seems as though Lord Strongheart has done an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important. I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Strongheart organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General. The most senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. That's what Father said anyway. Apparently, it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition. Does Professor Migatowa know Lord Strongheart personally, then, I wonder? Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech all about this very subject only yesterday. But I sort of lost the will to live early on and didn't really listen to much of it. How trying for you. Giselle Brett. The woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, Giselle Brett. That's a name I won't forget for as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, it seems it's a name we should all forget. Sorry? Since the incident, our government's intelligence services have been investigating Miss Brett. But it turns out that an Englishwoman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist. Didn't exist? But how can that be? It was a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin, and she wasn't a visiting student either. That was a front. A front? Who on earth was she then? Miss A. Shin. Her name is literally all our intelligence services have been able to ascertain about her. Nobody knows why or even how she came to be in Japan. It's a complete mystery. But that makes no sense. It's no easy task to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What could the woman have been up to? I'm afraid I really don't know. The only thing we can be sure of is that she had some business in our country that we don't yet understand. now she's been killed. While all the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered. I'm afraid so. Aishin. Who on earth was she? And why do I feel as though I've heard that name before somewhere? After my friend Ray's trial, the reporter who actually killed Miss Brett said something very strange. I know that... Oh, hold on. I need to find that. Let's see. I don't remember this guy's voice, so I need to... listen. I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. In that visiting student's fate. Nobody out in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know the guy. They don't know the guy never made. They don't know that the guy never made it to England. That he died on that steamship, and that he'll never. Obviously, I couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time. But later, I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Susato-San. And what did you learn? After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong and passed into the care of the consulate staff there. Should have been. But it turns out that his body never arrived. It just disappeared. What? Kazuma's body vanished? Our government tried to cover the fact up, it seems. They erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown. Except, Kazuma-sama isn't there. Did Professor Mikotoba know about this? Yes, it would seem that he did. But he didn't tell me. They're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak. I just don't believe it. And what is this acute feeling of apprehension I have all of a sudden? Thinking back now, some of the things that happened on the SS Barrio were definitely strange. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? Could it be? Could it be that he's actually still alive? Stop it, Mr. It's too much to bear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to... Just thinking about the possibility pains me. So very much. Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. When Kazuma-sama was discovered, Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he? And he definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. You're right. So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it would mean... Oh, sorry. So... you're right. So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it would mean that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us. But there's no reason why he possibly would have done such a thing. I suppose that's true, yes. Well, no reason that we know of. The idea that he might still be alive somewhere. It wants to fill me with hope, but I can't let it, because if it turned out not to be true, then I'd be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. I'm terrified of what that might do to me. Oh, Miss Susato. I know she's given the idea the thought it deserves. It's Susato-san we're talking about, after all. So I probably shouldn't push it now. You're still taking good care of that armband, I see. I'm so pleased. Well, yes, it feels like I wouldn't be me without it now, to be honest. Oh dear, there seems to be a thread coming loose just there, look. I'd be only too happy to mend it for you, sir. Oh, thank you. I must have scraped it against something again. I'm always doing that. Then take better care of it, please. It was all going so well until I ruined it. About this paper, Miss Susato. Yes, it's all about the great exhibition. I've been dreaming about it, you know. I was sorry that you were going to miss it when you were called back to Japan. So was I. I felt desperately unlucky. But here I am, back in London while it's underway. It's a dream come true. Perhaps you're not as unlucky as you thought, then. Once we've helped Professor Harebrained out of this terrible situation, we should all explore it together. And of course, we must invite the Professor's good friend, Lord Ventique, as well. Your luck might not stretch that far. Miss Susato, do you see this? You have such great expectation in your eyes, Miss Susato, but I'm afraid nothing particularly useful comes to mind at all. Oh, sorry. I'm not sure what I was expecting, really. This was used to shoot down the balloon, wasn't it? Yes, with a flaming arrow. It's quite a formidable weapon. I'm quite accomplished with a longbow myself, you know. No, really? If you were to balance an apple on your head, Miss Susato, I'm quite confident I could hit it from a good 50 meters away. Quite confident, you say? Does the apple necessarily have to be on my head? Okay. You see, I've been keeping my desk beautifully covered in papers as always. You really must tidy it all up, Mr. Hato. No more excuses. But Mr. Sato, the way I see it, all these papers building up on my desk like this are a reminder of my wonderfully diverse daily life. I like to leave them as they are, so I never forget how lucky I am to have such varied experiences. In that case, you should definitely have a thorough tidy. Then you'll be able to see your papers building up all over again and feel that joy renewed. Still can't beat her in an argument. Still can't beat her in an argument, even though I'm the lawyer here. You have water gently boiling on the stove, I see. Feels wrong somehow if I can't hear the water bubbling away. And we have plenty of logs, it's not like we have to worry about paying for gas. It's important to open the window for fresh air when fires burn. You can't keep it closed just because it's cold outside. It could be a matter of life and death. Avoiding the freezing winter air is a matter of life and death too, if you ask me. Oh well, perhaps a nice cup of tea will warm you up later. Thinking back, that spade's been in here since we first moved in, hasn't it? I'm sure I've told you before, Mr. Otto. It's not a spade, it's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. It's a shovel. It's a shovel. The Great Spade, Shovel, or Raging Song. Your room through there should be exactly as you left it. I've still never been inside. I've never been invited. Of course not. Only ibises allowed to enter. No doubt I'll be hearing you two giggling away in there again then. I left your desk completely untouched, Mrs. Sato, so it would be ready for you whenever you return. It's beautifully clean. There isn't a speck of dust on it anywhere. You've been cleaning in my absence, Susato. Whatever next? Well, I couldn't allow my great assistant's desk to sit there gathering dust, could I? It really is exactly as it was when I left. I'm so touched. But sadly, your desk is also exactly as it was too. Well, that's how it should be, after all. Oh dear, I've forgotten how that clean-cut smile can be so disarming. It must be about a year ago now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. I call it the Hound of the Baskervilles. But then Mr. Jones forbade you from publishing it, and put the manuscript somewhere nobody could get their hands on. So nobody knows anything about it, apart from Hurley. But for some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susan? It sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. You wouldn't tell me how you'd come to know it. Yes, but I made you a promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? I think it's time. Oh! I'm only sorry I've had to keep it from you for so long, Iris. It was completely by accident that I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning for the study, and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, "The Hound of the Baskervilles." What? My Baskerville story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time. But Father came in and... Mikatoba.
Susato, what are you doing?
Oh, Father.
Did you look at those papers?
No, I simply read the label, that's all.
Well, put it out of your mind. Doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Well, put it out of your mind.
Sorry?
Forget that you ever saw it, and certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand?
But what was Iris's manuscript doing in Japan? I have no idea. But when I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed that it was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Sholmes' exploits. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions, and there was no sign of the big box in his office. That's really all I know about it. I've no doubt that Father has a very good reason for being so secretive about it, but still. I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie. So, Mr. Nardo, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. I've committed every detail about the case to memory. And Iris has told me all about the disturbing happenings at the Waxwork Museum as well.
So, you're fully abreast of the situation already, Mr. Sato. I'd expect nothing less, to be honest.
I would think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Drebber, the engineer responsible for building the elaborate machine that was used to effect this extraordinary trick.
Yes, a conjurer of sorts by the sound of it, well known in the fields of science and magic.
Then we need to go and arrest him.
Well, yes, He must know the truth behind the case, so I agree we really do need to find the man. Really do need to find the man.
Sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down. Which is a job for the police or a great detective.
Are we supposed to guess who she might be thinking of? We don't have much time, so we need to get started straight away, I think.
Good idea. With best of luck, then.
Oh, you're not coming today?
I'm going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. But let me know later how you got on, won't you?
That was a little abrupt. Pull of the herb market. Not herb. Pull of the herb market must be strong.
Do you know, I honestly thought I might never have the opportunity to return to Great Britain, and certainly not so soon.
It's funny, for the past 6 months I haven't been able to work in court. Meanwhile, you've been raising a storm in the Supreme Court of Judicature back in Japan.
Please, Miss Nardo. I may have been dressed as a man, but it was a very reserved performance.
So what your father said in his letter about a Ryotaro takedown is reserved?
Well, anyway, I'm back here in this great capital now, and ready to assist you again in any way I can.
Thank you, Mr. Sato.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Nardo.
New location has been added.
Oh, Mr. Shobsweet is just as it was when I left.
Oh, the disappointment in that. In that, the way that's phrased. Poor Susato. She would not like it in my room either. 23rd of October, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice Office. Oh, who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart?
I wonder. I've never seen her before. I've never seen her before.
Oh, the young champion of the court. Hold on.
The young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown your entire government into disarray as a result.
Oh! You mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment?
Sham science being demonstrated at London's great exhibition. Countries been made to look foolish, and now politicians are scrabbling to respond. Lord Benziques is in Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing.
No, that's not quite.
So, welcome to our great city and enjoy yourselves. Lord Benziques is in Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing.
Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble.
None of this is your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having him taken in. The special dispensation that prevents investigation at the scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, my forensic investigation team will move in and deal with that scrap metal in no time.
Scrap metal now, is it? Okay, what voice do I give her?
Until later then, Lord Strongheart.
Yeah, that seems good.
Until later then, Lord Strongheart.
thank you.
Until later then, Lord Strongheart.
Who was that?
That was Dr. Courtney Sith, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. Dr. Courtney Sith. There we go. That was Dr. Courtney Sith, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. She is leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. She was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact.
Oh, I see. About Mr. Asman.
Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to reevaluate its findings. I don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you'll have to ask her directly. You can find her in the forensics laboratory.
Ah, right.
Now, what were you here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time.
So he's not running quite so spectacularly late anymore. What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before?
The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, on a vision, of course, to pave the way.
Goodness, a year ago?
At next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensic division. And once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly.
What do you mean?
For too long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. But London scum is about to be rounded up and burned to the fires of hell. I intend to see to it personally. By creating the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future. Look at those eyes. He means every word. Dr. Sith is an extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the forensic division at Scotland Yard, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium this week, October.
Yes, my lord.
Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan.
Yes, that's right. I understand he will arrive at the beginning of next month.
Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart?
With Professor Mikatoba, I mean.
It was many years ago now, but yes, I remember Dr. Mikatoba very well. If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student.
It was the year I was born. So yes, 16 years ago.
You're only 16? She doesn't look 16. She doesn't act 16 either. Mikatoba was a young practitioner.
I really thought she was like, you know, at least in her 20s. I thought, you know, her and Naruto both, you know, at least in their 20s. Did not expect her to be 16.
Mikatoba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Jigoku accompanied him as a young, promising judge.
and politeness of the Japanese of the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part. I didn't think that you were. Dr. Mikatova studied forensics at one of London's large hospitals. St. Cyrill's, if I'm not mistaken. The Sid was also there then, as it happens.
Then Dr. Sid knows my father, does she?
She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly, but I have no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikatova was here studying his subject for some 6 years. 6 years? That's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it?
I lived with my grandmother in those years.
So he left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years?
It was a rather turbulent time at home.
Oh.
Perhaps Father wanted a reason to get away.
What do you mean? Why? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. I wanted to ask you about Lord Benzix, actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as the Professor, who targeted nobles and royalty. Is that right? You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the murder. What? Why? When his brother, Clint Benzix, was murdered, it was just after young Barrack had graduated from the University of London and become a prosecutor. When obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing, rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that wherever Barrack Benzix went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind.
Oh my word!
So Lord Benzix isn't the real. It's the ghost of his brother? Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart. Go ahead. It's about Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible. Are you well versed in science, then? Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently. Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Sis' team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing. Thank you! Being able to look at it is better than nothing.
And I'll be able to see it too.
Your time is up. You will have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls.
We are extremely sorry to have troubled you when you are so busy, my lord.
I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium, you understand. Alright then. Oh my god! Dude. I'm not sure this is healthy. 23rd of October, local prison, cell 11. What's he doing?
Oh my, the whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations.
And he's still writing more now. Professor, sorry to interrupt. Oh, Mrs. Helen. And who is this young lady?
My name is Susato-San. I'm Miss Leonardo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor.
Oh, if only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner! None of this would have happened. happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all.
Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you.
I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning.
Oh, no, the whole thing, the whole miserable affair, it all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot. Professor Harebrain, what have you been working on in your cell?
Oh, you mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see, and I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had on hand. Was all I had to have. Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe?
No, actually. This is my autobiography.
Your autobiography? How I was diddled and fiddled by Albert Harebrain. How I found I could represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations.
Really?
I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. So it's going to be a new serial publication from next month. Part 1, an odd birth and an odd upbringing. Can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case?
Oh, yes, of course. I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled, I was fiddled by the pair of them. By Asman and by that aloof engineer Drap.
We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? This morning's trial.
Everything I believe in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Asman, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis even.
Oh, yeah, that was Harebrain, yeah.
I'm so sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end, there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning, I realized something.
Oh?
If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference if you are aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. He believed in me this morning, you know. Barrack did. He believed in my hypothesis.
Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case.
No. Barrack wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. Why it was that he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean. After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even.
I feel like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there.
So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barrack, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. Barrack insisted that I was a proper man of science from start to finish.
You think that's why he...
I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it.
And what about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea?
Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start?
I'm sorry to say that does seem likely, yes.
When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I had written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused, he was so emphatic.
But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems.
I still can't believe it. As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic, It probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually.
But the scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception. All young scientists are full of hope about their budgeting ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. We want to do research, but we can't afford it. How many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try to earn just a few pennies to carry on? To go through all that only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe. It is, I agree. And that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Asman is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer. Mr. Enoch Dripper. Is he an engineer, or a magician, or a swindler? It was about a year ago when Mr. Asman first brought Jabba to meet me at my laboratory. Since then, I've met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine. But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist? Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean? He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation. See.
But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give us as to his whereabouts?
I'm sorry. We only ever discussed the kinesis machine, nothing else. Nothing else. Although, just once, I did visit his workshop. What workshop? Jabba's enormous fabrication laboratory, where he constructed my great machine. Why didn't you mention this before? Enoch Jabba's workshop. There's every chance we might find the man there. So you've been to Jabba's place of work then? Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place. Plenty of room to construct the kinesis machine, you see. Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance that we'll find Jabba there. Well, yes, definitely. I'm sure. I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry. I was more than half expecting that. You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there. He blindfolded you? He wasn't taking any chances then. The place was incredible, the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best. A special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain. Ah, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formula and use that instead. What do you think, Mr. Sato? Eau de machine for your next birthday?
I've never used any kind of perfume, Mr. Murdo, and I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor. You don't have a business card for Mr. Jabba, for example.
The man was clearly very cautious, Mr. Sato. I'm sure he'd never have. Aha! Yes, I do! He gave me his business card once. It's right here, look!
What? Let me see that.
Throw etiquette to the wind, why don't you?
Enoch Dripper, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address.
No, well, I can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. Mr. Enoch Jabber's business card, though it only shows the man's name, there's no address. Jabber's card has been entered into the card record. Professor Heron, what do you make of this? Oh, yes, it's just what we need to prove our hypothesis, isn't it? No, it's nothing to do with your hypothesis, hypothesis. Take it away. I don't want to be bothered with anything that doesn't assist my science. Alright, keep your London Herald. Professor, do you recognize this? Oh, it's Andrew, my faithful friend. How have you been? Are you alright? Nobody's mistreated you, have they? Don't worry, he's being very well looked after. I always rub him with machine oil until it's gleaming. Right.
And then, when I come to time to screw with him, he slips in my hand and I can't do it. Haha, it's that age-old problem faced by dramophiles all the world over, isn't it?
I really wouldn't know, I'm afraid.
How could this have happened?
You must feel awful. As well as the man losing his life, the Crystal Tower was greatly damaged too.
I know what happened. It must have been that.
That?
The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at the hotel restaurant. When I paid the bill, they gave me 3 shillings too much in change. But instead of saying anything, I just slipped the coins into my pocket. They're still there now. It's divine retribution for my wrongdoing. That's what this is.
For a scientist, he has some very illogical anecdotes. Long and illogical. Of October, the Great Exhibition grounds. Foot of the Crystal Tower.
I had no idea there was so many people in the world.
I know what you mean. It's really packed here today.
It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point.
Has it? I shut my brain down so I didn't really notice, to be honest.
Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Susato.
There you are. I had a feeling your look would show your mugs before long. Nope, that's not the voice. That's not... Hold on. Let's see... Nice memos. Gina.
There you are. I had a feeling you lot would share your mugs before long.
Oh, sorry. No, that wasn't Gina. That was Gregson.
There you are. There you are. I had a feeling you lot would share your mugs before long.
Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual.
Long grease, dear. I do know you keep the Welsh's last minute.
What's with all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning.
Not you, Sunshine. The gentleman so loyally at your side. Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice.
He might be rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart. I suppose. As you've probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scenes.
Right, well, that's the young trainee still, eh? Oi, get over here, Gina.
She seems to be busy playing with a puppy, probably giving us traditional East End training.
Gina? She's a police officer now.
Amazing, isn't it?
She's a good cat, actually. Heart's in the right place, anyway. She got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yeah, I think she'll follow in my footsteps next time.
What do you mean?
I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo.
Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? We'll come to see how you're getting along.
Not likely. But you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is.
For France?
I'll be working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up my alley.
But France, it's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there?
That's the way the whole world works, Sunshine. You don't go, don't go poking your nose in where it's not wrong. I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go.
What? You're taking Gina to Paris?
Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what'll be coming out?
I suppose these words should slip back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses.
I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. murder. I think he's worried about the Reaper.
Oh, of course. So that's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it? Anyway, all I'm mentioning is Gina. So don't go blabbing, you hear me? No, of course not. I won't keep that diving diva set and separate. Do all this is there at least.
Oi! Are you just calling me a blooming diving diva again?
So you've heard that, did you? Right, well. Any questions about the sea, you can put them to my capable detective diva here. Alright, you heard the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now. Suppose I'd better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you got a new dog, have you?
Isn't he great?
Toby is his name.
Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable.
Yes, the dog does seem lovely. But it's the not-so-lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Gina, we were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again.
Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like.
Oh, that's alright, is it?
I'm going to be playing with your new friend here.
Ah, yes, Toby.
The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind.
Sorry, you can't go up there, Sus.
Oh. It's like I told Laura yesterday. Even I ain't allowed near that crap. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it.
The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Is that what you were thinking of?
That's the one. That's why only them are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The forensic something.
The Forensic Investigation Team? Is that what you were thinking of?
That's the one, yeah. But isn't it the case that the special dispensation has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it too truthfully. You're still supposed to get permission from some big or something as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something? I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Stronghold, perhaps. That's the one, yeah. Apparently he's always watching the time something. Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Stronghold. Hey, what? You met him? Last time the boss was called to come and see him. He waited for 3 hours at the post office and came back sniveling.
Tragic.
Well, Lord Stronghold has given us permission to examine the scene, so long as we touch nothing.
Oh yeah. Honestly.
Oh, go ahead. But if it turns out you're lying, he'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. So, you're still saying all this is bubbling, yeah? I'm sure everything will be fine.
That really would be tragic.
Oh, then stairs, if you get. Oh, thank you, Gina. It was great, wasn't it? I had a right laugh. It was new on me and that. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time worrying about it found out. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time when I'm about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you?
Yeah, and all made things odd for me every single time. Just doing my job, Gina. Watching someone else get in the neck is a lot of fun, actually. It was amazing to see when you showed that dodgy Professor Dodgy experiment with a turtle fix.
The dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruto's client.
Yes, I'm starting to wish he wasn't.
He's the boss officer, set off to do the impossible.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
He's supposed to arrest another cove, ain't he?
In time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer. What's his name again?
Mr. Jubber. Enoch Jubber. That's the one, yeah. So the police are looking for this mysterious man with a black monocle. I guess they would be.
He's been putting too much on the boss, if you ask me. He says it's giving him a gutting. Oh dear, but I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food.
So Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. If they've had any luck.
He's really fun looking. Got two eyes that don't match. Got two eyes won't do much. Stole a glimpse of a picture from earlier. I didn't actually picture it. The old devil squad.
Sorry, who?
You know, that's Skyland Reaper, what's always plugging down glasses with a blood-red pop.
Ah, Lord Benzeeks.
He's always had infamy, that goes. Don't know what he's always scouted about mine. Probably would have been a pretty good boss, I suppose.
She'd rather be the Reaper's apprentice than a detective's trainee. The way I see it, if the choice is between a chip-guzzling detective and a chalice-plugging demigod, you're equally badly off with both.
I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Glad we put that one to bed.
Anyway, the point is, everyone in the sky is dead set on finding a fishing engineer. But there don't seem to be no blue school to go on, so they're stuck.
Nothing that can lead us to Tripper at all? Where did you find that little mutt then, Gina?
Oi! Don't be so fucking rude,
Slight overreaction, don't you think?
ain't no mutt, alright? Toby's... how do they put it? Oh, yeah, a bonafide detective.
Sorry?
I'll get in a proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby here.
More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he?
Oh, so he's a police dog, is he?
The police recruit dogs now?
I've heard that they're already being used officially in Germany as part of their secret policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell after all.
I have a fairly good sense of smell myself as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that haven't. That's not helpful.
Ha! That's nothing compared to this little fellow here.
Oh, really?
According to what the boss said. Once Toby has got a good whiff of your drawers, he could chase that to the other side of the world.
What? To the other side of the world? You mean he can swim?
Miss Nardo, I think you may have missed the point by rather a wide margin.
I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill.
I'm telling you, Edo, there's gonna be more and more dogs doing their bit for the police in the future. Yes, I agree. Right, one of these days, they'll be barking orders at our slot, not the other way around. Oh dear, sorry, Gina, I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. But anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby is Britain's first police dog. I found him down at the East End the other day, so I would have just chucked him on the street.
There you go. I knew she'd lifted him from somewhere.
Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? The children and animals. What a shame that the symbolic landmark of the Great Exhibition has been damaged like that.
Yes, unfortunately the birdcage crashed in the most prominent position possible. It's the gods giving us a warning, if you ask me. Man must travel under his own steam and not the corner with instantaneous kinesis.
But imagine what might have happened if the birdcage had led him to a slightly different location. The death toll could have been far worse. So I think perhaps it was a blessing in disguise.
Well, the gods are benevolent, obviously. I did say it was just a warning. Man must travel under his own steam, or next time birdcages will rain down on all of you.
Your faith is much stronger than I realized.
Well, how do you think I passed the entrance exam for Yume University? It wasn't by studying alone.
Oh, the Crystal Tower. I can't believe I'm seeing it at such close proximity with my own eyes.
You've really been looking forward to the great exhibition, haven't you, Mr. Susato?
Oh yes. When I found out that I had to return to Japan, I'm afraid I cursed my luck.
But here you are, back in London, gazing up at the magnificent tower.
I know. Perhaps I was wrong to curse my luck so harshly. Oh look, a flying balloon. I've never seen one in the flesh before.
I can't understand how they can fly, and so high up as well.
Oh, but think of the view, Misato. You must be able to see for miles and miles.
I do think of it, and it terrifies me. I mean, it would be certain death if you fell out.
I'm sure they're perfectly safe. After all, they've been invented by some of the brightest minds in the world.
Let's not forget that we know at least one has exploded.
I'm sure there are other ways to fly.
The stage up there is where the experiment was set up. It's very high, isn't it?
About 30 feet, I believe. Or 9 meters, if you prefer. Craning your neck to see up to it starts to hurt after a while, doesn't it?
Yes, we need to get up there and look around properly. Although, if I'm honest, climbing all those stairs makes my chest hurt.
Oh dear. I think perhaps you should exercise more, Mr. Mother. Here's the scorching on the ground that you mentioned.
Yes, and there's what's left of the green balloon's envelope. All clear evidence of the balloon that exploded on the day of the incident.
Poor Professor Harebrained. I do feel sorry for him that his dreams have been shattered like this.
Someone's well and truly burst his bubble, as it were. Ouch, I'm a bad person. These stairs lead up to the experimentation stage. Let's go and see what we can find out. October, Great Exhibition Grounds Experimentation Stage.
Oh my, so this is the machine that was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place.
Yes, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment.
What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrained went to in order to obtain the research grant.
No, the professor was tricked as well. He didn't know anything about it.
Yes, of course. It is amazing, though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British.
You're right about that. You'd never see such a grand deception in Japan, that's for sure. Why do I feel like that's foreshadowing?
Oh, look, is that...
Ooh, Lord Van Zieks.
Lord Van Zieks!
So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Mrs. Sato?
Already?
He is the Reaper, remember. We do well to keep our distance, I think.
We have permission to be here, from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine, as long as we don't touch anything.
From the top, do you mean Lord Strongheart?
Exactly. So we could stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like.
She could have been at the center of the explosion here and it wouldn't have bent her steel will.
What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders had buckled and twisted in the blast.
And what they call the bird cage was right in the middle of it all, just here.
But look, Miss Soda, the metal grill on the floor. It looks as though it's designed to open.
It does, doesn't it? If the floor had opened at the precise moment of the explosion, the bird cage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight.
I don't think there's any doubt that this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? exhilarating. All this different architecture from all corners of the world.
It does make it feel a bit like an explorer, doesn't it? I know it's all subjective, but the onion-shaped roofs have rather caught my attention personally.
It is very subjective, isn't it?
Japanese buildings with their wood and paper construction have excellent ventilation, and I've realized that British buildings being made from brick and stone are very strong and long-lasting. The more you know about how things are done in other countries, the more you understand your own, I feel.
Oh yes, I do agree with you there.
But I can't help wondering what an onion does for the roof of a building. I mean, I suppose it's playing on my mind because I don't like the taste of onions.
You really ought to let your taste in vegetables dictate your taste in roofs, Mr.
I do think that's right, you know, when you understand and connect and empathize with other countries, other cultures, and even just other people. Your understanding of yourself, your own culture, your own country, all those things improve the wider you cast your knowledge net and your empathy net. Because I do think that it's like, you know, it's so easy to other people and to just it's so easy to other and to say, you know, oh, well, that country is our enemy, or that country is our ally, or like, nah, cultures are really like complex, and you know, and not to mention every country is not just one culture, right? It's like there is an American culture, but there is also many cultures within that, all over America. And the same is true for other countries, you know? And it's so easy to, like, lump all of it together. And it's just never gonna be that way in reality. And I think that's really cool, actually. You know, like, one thing that, you know, I watched a video essay a while ago that, like, really helped me understand Orientalism, which is a whole thing, and I don't necessarily have to go into it now, but it's a really, like, basically the idea behind Orientalism is, you know, it sort of takes the entire Middle East and, like, creates an amalgamation of it that is, like, all these different cultures smushed into one stereotypical idea of the Middle East. And it's been perpetuated by Hollywood a lot. And, you know, it's like, oh, you know, they're in the desert, and, like, there's a certain kind of, like, sound to the music. It's like, and it's like, it's such a ridiculous thing because there's so many people there. There's so many different cultures. And somehow we've created an image that's like, you know, buildings like the Taj Mahal in the desert, and like, and, you know, head coverings and stuff like that. It's like, it's not that simple. It's never that simple. So thanks, Hollywood. But yeah, you know, and I just think it's like, it's really interesting, like, how many cultures there are out there, and I think we would all do well to learn about them as much as we're able. Or, you know, same like with, you know, indigenous cultures, right? Like, we can sometimes, you know, again, create like an image of them that, and of course, you know, indigenous people are still around today. But, you know, unlike some of the narratives that go around that treat them like they're a piece of history, which, and they are a piece of history, but they're also still alive. But anyways, it's just, there's so many different parts of indigenous culture. And there's, you know, anyways, I just think it's really interesting. I'm sorry, I went off on a whole tangent here, but it's just like, I think it's really interesting. This wasn't here yesterday.
Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage with which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air.
That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Harry said in court, it's made of wood.
Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been an explosion and then fallen from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What a wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Arthur?
I had understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they'd finished their work.
But sadly, not with the body inside it.
No, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still, this is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. Wooden bird cage. The wooden cage that was used for Professor Harebrain's experiment. The cage with the victim inside crashed down to the crystal tower.
I hear that a ride on the Ferris wheel is a favorite romantic outing among young London couples.
I think the romance would be slightly spoiled by the abject terror personally, but then I'm not a Londoner.
Are you a little scared of heights, Mr. Arthur?
It's not that I'm scared, not at all. It's just that staying on the ground seems so much safer.
Well, perhaps I shall have to ask Iris and Mr. Sholmes to accompany me in that case.
When you put it like that, part of me does want to give it a try.
Oh dear, it is complicated for you, isn't it? Look at that horn-shaped transmitting device. Isn't it amazing?
That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it.
It makes you think, doesn't it? If only it had just been a normal horn, none of this would have happened.
That's almost exactly what I thought as well. I bet I can predict what you're going to say next in that case. You're about to say, nothing ever goes to plan, aren't you?
Oh no, I would never say something like that.
However much I look at them, I just can't come to terms with this Tamari handball floating in the sky.
I've been glaring at them constantly since we came up here.
Sorry, the feelings of wanting to ride in one and wanting never to set foot in one are fighting it out inside me.
But if you don't look where you're walking, you might fall off the stage.
I don't think I'd notice. That's how fiercely the battle inside me is raging.
I think you should just make peace with riding in one, Miss Ardo. It really would be much safer that way.
Yeah, well, I personally would just never do it. I'm not ashamed to admit I am terrified of heights. So, yeah. Okay, I'm a little ashamed, but not enough to not do it. Doesn't really help anyone to not admit I'm not afraid of to not admit I'm afraid of heights, you know? I figure we should be honest about our fears. Only helps us. Although I guess, you know, you could be bullied for it, which isn't great. But ugh, least approachable man in the world winner 10 years in a row.
Be strong, Miss Ardo. Your country and your assistants stand firm behind you.
Lord Van Zeeks. What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently you Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs. Oh, I read them. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. Well, the thing is...
Lord Chief Justice Strong had granted us permission to investigate, on the condition that we didn't disturb it.
And yet you've managed to disturb me. Ah! Never mind. State your business then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zeeks about. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this.
Ask away, Miss Ardo. You won't know unless you try.
So, Flint was the name of your older brother. I understand what that means. Vietnamese always have to be a god when you're around. So, you've been investigating me, have you? Oh, no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zieks family. Tragically, a vicious killer took him from us. Professor, you mean? Is something funny? That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry? There's more to it, then. Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it? You're too kind. Are you going to tar all Nipponese with the same brush next? Yeah, because he's racist. He is. Like, that's been regularly a thing for him. So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident?
As it happens, Lord Van Zieks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tussauds Museum of Waxwork by any chance?
I am. Actually, I believe that since last month I feature in one of the displays there, the public scorn. Of course the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he?
Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place and held for ransom.
A particular waxwork? Wait, you mean... Yes, it's the Professor. Mr. Shones is investigating the case as we speak. I was unaware of that. He's turned as white as a sheet. Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already? Surely that goes without saying. We've been very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier.
Which, according to Professor Halbrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who had straight white hair and then wears a black monocle.
So, I was just wondering, I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but...
We'd very much appreciate any more clues you can give us.
Wow, Susato-San really knows how to take the bull by the horns. Fine, why not? I have a photograph of the man here from an investigation 10 years ago. It appears he already had that black monocle at the time. What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared that with us. We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow, which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So I moved I show you the photograph.
What is it about Lord Van Zieks? Sometimes I just can't work him out at all.
The photograph of Drebber has been entered into the court record. A photographic print of the engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber. It's hard to make out, but he appears to be wearing a monocle with a black glass. Ah, the file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you. Are you alright?
Who is this man, Miss Nardo?
Lord Van Zieks' apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Susato-San can see it too.
Lord Van Zieks, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment?
With him? Why?
Kazuma-sama!
Kazuma? I don't believe it.
Your posture, your presence. It can only be. It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama?
I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure, as if I knew him somehow. Can it really be you, Kazuma?
Wait!
What's going on here? What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something. Oh,
Since when has it been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago.
Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. He didn't tell you why, did he? The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself.
He has amnesia.
Tomorrow he will appear in court at my side. What? He's to serve as my judicial assistant on Lord Strongheart's orders. Be in court with us. Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Oh. Yes, thank you. We definitely saw a reaction there. Susato-San called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. She called out Kazuma-san.
You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Miss Amato?
Yes. Yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Zeek's office.
I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us.
I know. We're going to need to speak to him about that. We're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. Well, we could do without them. Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mr. Sato.
Of course.
Right! French accent. Frick. Okay. Oh boy. Let's see. French accent. French accent. French accent. Where are you?
Oh my, no wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I'd like to turn on my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery.
Being scared makes you crave sweets? I can understand that.
was looking forward to a reunion after 6 months away, but there's no sign of Mr. Sholmes anywhere.
It's strange. You should be here investigating the abduction of the wax worm. Oh well, I suppose we'll just have to come back again later. Oh, okay. Guess Madame Tuspels is not here.
This one's posture reveals his weakness.
Sorry?
The killer's stance leaves him wide open to attack. I'm quite sure I could see him with Susato takedown, and then a Susato squash, and finally, a Susato smash.
Right.
And if that doesn't render the culprit unconscious, a Susato slam would finish him.
A Susato slam?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's rather hard to explain. Leave yourself open slightly and I'll demonstrate.
Absolutely not.
There's a stepladder there, look.
Oh, yes. A stepladder.
I think perhaps we should let the proprietors know that somebody's left it out. The stepladder, I mean. Is something wrong?
Why do I feel as though I just managed to sidestep an argument? I don't know. That old policeman isn't here now, obviously. Still can't believe he just happened to be on the jury, though.
I'd understood that London has a population of 6 million people, and yet, you do seem to run into the same people disproportionately often, don't you?
Yes. Yes. Yes, that is completely accurate. And I assume it's because they didn't have the budget to procedurally generate 6 million people. But, no, that's not, obviously, like, they chose characters based on how they could impact the story, obviously. And, you know, it makes perfect sense. But it does feel like a little bit weird to, like, you know. And then, of course, you know, just to have the whole of London, and then just run into the same people on the jury as you know, as we've seen before. Like, supposedly the jury is picked randomly, right? And just regularly the same people are on it. Or the people who have been involved in recent cases. Like, and then of course, that all feeds very directly into very biased juries. So, which is the point of a jury is to be unbiased. Like, that is their purpose. Like, if you have a biased jury, it completely defeats the point of having a jury. Completely. Like, it's absurdly counterproductive. Yes, the heavy curtains in the middle of the House of Horrors. Whatever's on the other side of them, you just know it's going to be terrifying, don't you?
The sign says it's the Madame Tuspel special exhibit. It seems you have to pay extra to go inside.
I know, can you believe that? Paying more money as if we haven't been scared enough already?
It's not my doing, Miss Snowdon.
Yeah, don't yell at her for that.
Oh, what a horrifying scene. A murderer caught in the grisly act.
I know, and in case you were wondering, it's the one with the big knife that's supposed to be the killer.
I don't think anybody would be in any doubt about that, surely.
Did you know that according to the description, the bathtub at the back has no particular significance?
What? Really? I would have thought it was meant to show that the killer also worked in a bathhouse peddling criminal wares.
Aha! We have a new theory. Yeah, I guess we'll name it later. Oh my, this is a hell of a place. 23rd October, Forensic Laboratory. Forensics. I don't know why I keep saying forensic. It's forensics. And I don't know why I keep leaving the S off. It's a little odd. I believe this is it. Dr. Scythe's laboratory. Wait, is it Scythe or Scythe? I guess it's probably Scythe. That chemical smell really assaults the nose. And there's plenty to assault the eyes in here, too.
It looks as though the doctor isn't here. But we're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think?
What a seasoned tourist you've become, Miss Susato. We could have just have a little look around. Being careful not to upset any restless souls. Those large jars seem to have pale things floating around inside them. I suppose they're fruit liquors or something, or like the pickled umeboshi plums we make back home.
Our father had jars like this in his laboratory as well. I expect they're human organs in a preserving solution, probably as examples of some rare medical condition.
Miss Susato, there are some things in the world that it's perfectly fine never to know about. Ever.
Oh.
So as I said, I'm sure they're fruit liquors or umeboshi. Aren't they?
Of course.
A table and a set of sharp tools. When you consider each in isolation, it all looks quite innocent. So why is it that when you put them side by side, they seem so horribly disturbing?
It might be best not to ponder it too deeply. Seeing the large tome that's open on the desk does make me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with this acrid odor of chemicals in the air?
You'd either have to be you'd either have to have a cast iron constitution or a really terrible sense of smell. Look at all the bottles on the shelves in these cabinets. I mean, what an assortment of chemicals.
These ones here are labeled highly toxic.
Ugh, that's worrying, because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers in there.
Oh, yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. The doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes.
Life goes on, even when you're surrounded by death.
I suppose this is Dr. Scythe's death.
Dr. Scythe's. I suppose this is Dr. Scythe's desk. Sorry, I don't know why that was hard to say. Ugh, I would not like to work in a place like this.
It's very tidy though, isn't it, Miss Nada? Imagine how efficiently she must work.
The lighting is poor, which is bad for the eyes, and the chemical smell can't be good for you. Not to mention the skeleton watching over you as you work, which is definitely bad for the nerves.
Well, yes. Those are valid concerns, I suppose.
I can just about cope with a one-eyed Daruma doll watching over me, but that is all. Wow, look at this! What a magnificent display case. The cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they?
Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Miss Nada?
Miss Susato, can't you tell that I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? It's how I cope!
I'll be sure to remember that from now on. That looks like an owl and a crow up there.
I know, and they haven't even twitched since we came in here.
Well, no, they wouldn't have. They're taxidermy mounts, Miss Nada.
Ugh, I was afraid you were going to say that. I've been trying very hard to tell myself they're just sleeping with their eyes open.
Yes, I think perhaps you were wise to put something like your Daruma doll on display in the office instead.
Feel we need to spend a little more time investigating here. Okay. Then what is it that I have missed? Because I'm in trouble finding it. Nothing around down here. Nothing here. Nothing here. Hey! Thrifty, thanks for the lurk. Oh. So, that's the first time I've ever had anyone actually lurk. Chat box is missing again? Really? Because not from my side. I've got your stuff here. So. Oh, JK. Well, there we go then. Yeah, I mean, there was nothing in it because nobody was here. Until you. So, and then, yeah, bit of lag. So, there we go. Latency, lag, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. Nobody else has been here all night, so, and I got about 15 minutes left in my stream, so thanks for stopping by. We're currently investigating the, coroner / forensic investigator thing. Anyways, her office. Anyway, lurk as you please, but thank you for stopping by. Ah, there we go. Look at this big, thick book here.
Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think.
Oh? What is it?
It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange.
Really? In what way?
They're buying 500 scalpels every month.
500? They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses.
I don't know. Judicial autopsies are only carried about in certain special circumstances. And scalpel blades can be sharpened, too.
It does seem a bit strange, you're right. 500 scalpels a month? What could they possibly be using all of them for? Okay. Let's see.
What are you doing?
Ah! Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so...
So, it's a good snoop around. That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it?
Well, what do you want? Lord Strongheart told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body. Or Mr. Asmon's body, I mean.
So we came to ask you about your findings, on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If the Lord Chief of Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation will be. But when we're done, you must leave immediately. So, you want to know what
can't be right.
If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see. If two people who looked very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true. But sadly, in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident.
Ah, fingerprints.
They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system, but one day they will be used as an investigative aid as a matter of course. Oh my, that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, with drawing conclusions. Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, and yet the body did move from one place to the other.
This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery.
Mama, what is this?
Ah, where did she spring from? And why did she just call the doctor Mama?
This is a lawyer, dear.
Hello? Pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer, right?
Mama. Yes. Can I cut this one up?
What?
I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like.
Well, that's disturbing.
I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you very well can see. As you can very well see. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you very well can see. Boring.
I think I just had a near-death experience.
Oh dear, Miss Nano, you're as pale as a corpse.
Then let's leave before I'm mistaken for one.
Gina,
We were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again.
yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like.
That's alright, is it?
I'm gonna be cutting with my friend here.
Ah, yes, Toby. Apparently, we can't look around on the stage now because of the forensic investigation team report.
Can you do anything, Gina,
In your capacity as Inspector Lestrade.
Well, I'd like to help you out.
Well, I'm just a trainee. Ain't nothing I could do. When it suits you, yes. We'd better not try going up those stairs to the stage area now. If we were to bump into the forensic investigation team, it sounds like it could make trouble. a bunch of reporters at a trial today. One of them got a sketch of me in the witness stand. Oh, really? Yeah, I look pretty good, right? Ain't that testimony of mine was spot on? I'm not sure that spot on is quite the right description. And look, it was in special edition all. I bought a copy. Oh, that's a lovely picture of Eugenia. But I thought you couldn't read. What did it take me for? I'm cramming every day. Ah, I see. I started at 8, and I've already gotten 8, and I've already gotten all the way to 8. It could be a long journey for you. Okay, would you take a look at... Oh, where'd it go? Because I'd like to... Alright. Sorry, just checking something odd. There's some sort of lever here. What is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. I think it's probably used for the same thing, too. We did that already, right? I went through all that. It looks like you wind this around in order to draw the bowstring back and create tension. You must be able to fire arrows with a huge amount of force or something like that. In fact, I would imagine it's far more accurate and powerful than a Japanese longbow. Oh, I really have no idea what I was picking up when I spotted this at the exhibition grounds. This groove here must be where the arrows are loaded, I suppose. So it was right, it's a sort of bow with an automatic firing mechanism. This would be perfect for someone like me who catches his ear with the bowstring 2 times out of 3. In fact, if I'd had one of these, maybe I could have beaten Catherine on trade archery training. Dark smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Ah yes, possibly. Professor Harebrained mentioned something about the oil Mr. Derby uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high-quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Yes, that's right. And more importantly, that it's more fragrant than the finest perfume, so excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry, I expect that's just because there's such a tiny amount of it. Have an idea. Not quite right. There we go. Look here, Mr. Susato. Oh yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height. Yes, from the height at which the balloon was flying down into the crystal tower below. Fall about 30 feet, or 9 meters, leaving the man inside tragically dead. So, here's my idea.
About this, Gina. Yeah, I'm still learning my letters at the moment. Oh, they're now 8 at 8, so if it ain't too much blatant trouble. Actually, Gina, it's the back of the card that's important. Eh? How come? It's just a dirty old smudge on the back, that's all. It turns out that this is very high quality French machine ware. It has a very particular scent apparently. You don't say. Well, that's a weird thing. You sure? I don't smell nothing. No, we didn't mean that you should smell it. Oh, right. You mean Toby? His sense of smell is so good he could track people over the oceans, can't he? Professor Harrod informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Trevor's workshop. I think he's picked up a scent. So you mean if he follows the scent of this oil, Toby could lead us to Dozuko's workshop? That's right. That's exactly what we were hoping. Alright then, we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that. Wait, when did you... It's a pickpocket? If I could lead everyone to Trevor's workshop, I'll be your boss's boss before next week. Oh yes, Gina. I'm sure you'll be promoted.
Poor Gregson.
Right then, Odin, leave it to me.
Sorry?
We're going to get going after the dodgy engineer code right this minute. Oh, but hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard duty all the time.
I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina.
Oh, right. Oh, well, never mind. It ain't gonna be me what gets Nick. He'll be the boss.
Poor Gregson again.
Ready, Toby? Get our oil set, Ed. Come on, then, boy. See you later. See you later. I do hope the scent of that oil leads them to that swindler's workshop.
Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the channel to France. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. If we could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber.
I'm sure Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months.
Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful, you're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tusspel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit.
Yes, Iris told me all about his latest unusual venture.
And that's where we're gonna wrap up for the day, or the night, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, it's 7 p.m. So, that is that. Let me see, is there anyone to raid? No, let's see. Yeah, there's someone to raid. He's playing Spirit of Justice. So, have fun! It's gonna raid in 3, 2, 1. Raid now.